Alright guys, before we start on our Pokemon adventure here, I'm going to go down the list of rules on our Nuzlocke challenge. You're going to notice that my rules are going to be a bit different than the quote-unquote canon Nuzlocke rules. These are the rules that I enjoy and I'm going to stick by. The first thing you're going to notice is that I'm not going to nickname any of my Pokemon. You go ahead and complain in the comments if you really enjoy doing that. I'm not going to do it. I think it's obnoxious. But, let's go down the list here. Rule number 1. If your Pokemon faints, it's considered dead, and you have to release it at the next time you encounter a PC. Rule number 2. You only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in an area, unless you already have that Pokemon. Normally, you would just catch the first Pokemon, period, but I don't want to get any duplicates, because it could put you in some bad situations in your team composition where you have a bunch of flying Pokemon against Brock. Not to say that you're picking and choosing your Pokemon, but you do have some variety. Rule number 3. No buying items or Pokemon. This is pretty self-explanatory, although it can lock off some progression, so we are going to have some exceptions, like buying the fresh water to proceed through the game. Rule number 4. After releasing a Pokemon, you are allowed to purchase a Pokeball that Pokemon was caught with. This is so you don't get stuck in any situations where, because you can't buy Pokeballs, you can't expand your party size. Rule number 5. You may catch a Pokemon purely for HM usage. You may not use this Pokemon in any Pokemon battles. And you may replace any Pokeballs used to catch it. This is just so you don't get progression blocked if you don't have a Pokemon that can learn Cut, or Flash, or Surf, or whatever. We're probably going to get a Meowth, because it learns Flash and Cut. And then we're not going to have to worry about those two until we could get a Krabby. And then Krabby's going to be able to learn all the HMs except for Fly. Rule number 6. If you white out in a battle, which is if all of your Pokemon faint, the game is over, even if you have Pokemon in the PC. This is one of the more logical game over points. Technically, if you do have Pokemon stored in your PC, you can pull them out and grind, but I feel that you should just let that run die instead of trying to pick it back up. Alright guys, those are our rules for our Nuzlocke challenge. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And let's start our Pokemon adventure. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey guys, this is Fat B, and today we're going to be playing Pokemon Ultra Violet. This is a ROM hack for the Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red. It essentially mashes them both together so you can catch all Pokemon in one game save without trading. This is your obligatory Pokemon opening cutscene. We're in the Game Boy Advanced generation, so we get to pick our gender. So we're gonna start our adventure here. We're gonna get the PC potion. I haven't played a game yet that didn't have the PC potion, so it's good to assume that you always get some kind of gift in your PC when you start the game. So we're gonna run up here to Tall Grass, and get pulled into Oak's lab. So the interesting part of Ultra Violet, in addition to being able to naturally catch all the Pokemon that you normally wouldn't be able to, you're allowed to catch your first Pokemon as opposed to getting stuck with one of the starting 3 Pokemon, the Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Catching your own Pokemon will have Gary pick a Charmander as his starter, which is fine. Charmander does have his weaknesses. The only problem being, in the early game, if we don't get a water type, we might have a problem fighting him in our rival battles. So they kick us out into this little isolated bit of the Savari Zone, and there are 3 types of Pokemon that I'm going to be allowing myself to catch, and we're going to get a Machop here, which is going to be great for the early game. It's going to let us wreck Brock and the Mount Moon. So I'm going to use a bait here. If you're not too familiar with the Safari Zone, you get Safari Balls to catch these Pokemon, and you can't use your Pokemon to fight theirs for whatever reason. And you get bait and rocks, and bait will make the Pokemon stay longer, and rocks will make them easier to catch. Bait also makes them harder to catch, so you kind of have to balance it. I usually do 1 bait and then 2 rocks, but we got it in 1 rock, so. But our other 2 options for Generation 1 Pokemon would have been Ghastly, which is pretty unique. Getting a Ghost Pokemon this early in the game seems pretty interesting, and Dratini, which is another cool choice. So at 5, our Machop starts with Low Kick and Leer. Low Kick is a fighting type move that scales with your opponent's weight. So when we go and fight Brock's Onix, it's going to do a lot of damage. So that's a good thing for us in the early game of this Nuzlocke run. So we're just going to outdamage this Charmander pretty easily. Gonna go up to level 6. So we're gonna head up to town and get the Oaks parcel. We're gonna get stopped by this NPC who's gonna tell us about the signs, giving us trainer tips. I forget to grab a potion there. It's kind of... I always forget it. So the first Pokemon we encounter here is Shiny Rattata. In Pokemon Ultra Violet, on every route there is a special square that, if you roll over it, the next Pokemon you encounter will be a shiny. There is a chart online. I'm not going to abuse it. I don't really I mean, shinies are shinies, but this kind of takes the specialness out of it. And I did a Nuzlocke run where I would only catch the shiny that I would get from those rollovers. And after a while it just gets annoying because you have the half-a-second animation time every time you use that Pokemon. So, we got the parcel. We're gonna run back down to Oak's lab. We only had one random encounter, which was pretty alright. I mean, I don't think we're gonna die, but I tend to not implement the Nuzlocke rules until I have Pokeballs to catch things. Except for if I was catching my own Pokemon, and I did there. Alright, so we got our Pokedex, and we got some Pokeballs, so now we can start. First we're gonna grab the town map. I have played quite a bit of Pokemon, I mean enough to know a few of the nuances of the game, but I'm gonna have to reference it a few times. But probably not till we have Fly. And I think even if we don't have the town map, we do get to see it if we try and use Fly. Right, so first Pokemon. We're in level 3 Pidgey. It's not too bad. I don't want to deal too much damage to it. We're just gonna use a Leer. We do take a critical there, but we only have one more patch of grass to go through. And I'm not opposed to running. Alright, so we got a Pidgey. So that's gonna be our Route 1 catch. Pidgey's gonna be a solid member of our team. We're gonna have to get him to level 9 so that he could wreck all the bug Pokemon from all the bug catchers that we're gonna encounter. But once he has a flying type, or a flying type move, Gust, he's gonna be great. So we're gonna go over to the left here to Route 22 to try and catch a third Pokemon. I believe the 3 things we could catch here are Sparrow, Mankey, and Rattata. There's not really a great option here because we already have a fighting type. We do get a Mankey. Normally, if we didn't get Machop, Mankey would definitely be a great get. So we have a fighting type for Croc. Unfortunately, I do critical him, which means we're not going to be able to catch a Pokemon in this route now. So, for some reason I always think that there's a hidden item up here. We don't want to go too far to the left over towards the Elite Four, because we will trigger a rival battle with Gary, and his Pokemon are around level 9. So right now, we're not going to be able to fight them. Alright, so we got Focus Energy. That's gonna give us a higher critical rating when we use it. At least I believe so. I'm gonna run up here and get this potion next to this tree. I really don't like that tree being there. Especially, like, I understand that it's a hidden item, but it's not really hidden and it is easily obtainable. Like, there is the other tree that's to the southwest of where I am. And you could get, I believe, Nightmare from an NPC there. And that's a whole different thing. You're coming back and you're backtracking to go in areas that you couldn't previously. But this is something you can get from the beginning, and it's pseudo-hidden. But it is what it is. We have the old man catching Pokemon cutscene. I always really disliked this. I understand you do have to teach new players all the nuances of your game, but Professor Oak did give us Pokeballs when we got the Pokedex, and this just might be a change from earlier versions, because I believe in the original Red and Blue, you got your Pokeballs from him. So, I mean, in Red and Blue, or Fire Red and Leaf Green, they could have just had Oak have that cutscene. So, we're gonna try and catch a Pokemon in Route 2 here. So we are using the no-dupe clause in our Nuzlocke run, so all these Pidgeys don't mean anything to us. They're pretty much XP fodder. So this is our 4th Pidgey in a row. It's getting pretty obnoxious, so I just start grinding here. So we're going to switch out our Pokemon here, because if we do get a non-Pidgey at some point, we don't want to have my Machop be over-leveled and one-shot our potential catch again. But our Pidgey does end up taking a beating. So I'm not too sure if it's Low Kick or Mankey's stats in general that has a high critical, but it does work for us. So after 6 Pidgeys, we do get a different Pokemon, and we get a Caterpie. Caterpie has a pretty low chance of showing up in this route, and it's not the worst thing we could get, and I guess it'll free up our forest catch to be something other than a Caterpie. I mean, unless we get like a Metapod, which will be obnoxious, but... It does give us some variety, and I don't really like getting Rattata. Normal Pokemon are just, I mean, they're normal, so they're fairly bland, and he doesn't really have anything I want to get except for maybe Hyper Fang. But Hyper Fang isn't too useful in general. So you do get the Caterpie. We're gonna run back to the Pokemon Center, heal up, and make our way through Viridian Forest. So I always think there's a item in that patch of grass there, but in my mind it just mirrors the item that's on the other end of the forest. So there's another Caterpie. We're not gonna catch it, we're just gonna get some XP off of it. Alright, grabbing this Pokeball here. Since we're not using markets, all the Pokeballs we have are going to be pretty precious. Another Caterpie here. We're just going to grind out some XP. I hate it when they have that magic pixel. It's like they're stealing time from me. So I go ahead over here and double check that there's no item over here. I mean, it's not a huge waste of time because we are still trying to catch another Pokemon and trying to grind Pidgey up to level 9. Alright, then we got Sand Attack. I'm not gonna use it too much. I'm not a big fan of using debuffs. I'm more of a pump my Pokemon so I can one-shot you. Unless it's a status ailment, like if I, say, had Ghastly, and I would hypnotize your Pokemon to put it to sleep so I can just kill it while it doesn't do anything. So we actually get really lucky here, and we find a Pikachu. So bearing us catching it, it's going to put us way over the top in the early game. We're going to be able to wreck Brock with our Machop, level up Pikachu, destroy Misty. Hopefully we find some way to combat our rival's Charmander. It might just end up being that we're so over-leveled that we're just wrecking him. But we'll cross that avenue as we come to it. So I bring out Caterpie here because the Pikachu is level 3. My Pidgey will just get one-shotted probably by the Pikachu throwing out any electric attack. But unfortunately, this Pikachu crits our Caterpie. So we're gonna have to say goodbye to our Caterpie in his first appearance. But we still gotta make the best of the situation, and we do have to catch this Pikachu. So we're gonna throw out this Pokeball here, and he's gonna break out of it. Which is pretty unfortunate. Wasting Pokeballs is not the greatest in this run. I mean, we're gonna be able to pick up 2 on our way up to the next gym, and there's not enough real routes to use all the Pokeballs that we caught, or that we have. So, we'll be fine. So we throw out our second one here, and we catch the Pikachu. This is great, so our team's looking like Pikachu, Pidgey, Machop. I get pretty excited here, and not excited, but I mean, I'm excited that I got the Pikachu, but I'm disappointed we lost our Caterpie. I don't really feel that we needed a bug Pokemon going forward, and it would have kind of just been a pain to actually level up. Having a smaller size group is going to be a lot easier to manage, especially when all of them are going to be very, very useful. So, I'm just using Pidgey here to get this free experience, because the Kakuna isn't going to do anything. And then we're going to have to run back to the Pokemon Center and release our Caterpie. Level up to 6 here. And get a good chunk after that. So we get another potion. Again, potions are also going to be in short supply. Alright, so unfortunately we have to make our first dreaded walk to the PC. I believe we could use Move to release. Yeah, we just go up to Party Pokemon. So, fortunate for Caterpie, we're gonna have to let him go here. Alright guys, that was episode 1. You guys have a good one.